guys, this is Comic Uno, and today I'm doing a review for Arrow. Finally back with my old camera. Let's talk about this episode. Some big stuff here with the League of Assassins, which, you know, we saw coming because of the title of the episode. So with this episode, we get to see Oliver wants to go back to Ra's al Ghul. And he says, I'm doing it for Thea because Thea trades Malcolm and tells the League of Assassins that Malcolm killed Sarah. So Malcolm's kidnapped, scared to death by Ra's al Ghul. And Oliver's like, I don't want that guilt for Thea. I gotta go to Ra's al Ghul. And by the end of this episode, we get to see that Ra's al Ghul is kind of bowing down to Oliver in a way because he wants Oliver to take his place as the next Ra's al Ghul. I don't know why he even needs to be replaced in a way, because he is internal. But, yeah, next Ra's al Ghul, Oliver, and he's going to have to make a decision. Other characters, other things going on here. I'll save Thea for last. But, Laurel finds out that Thea killed Sarah. Not angry at Thea. She's angry at Malcolm. Wants to fight him. Does not do well in that situation. And then Nyssa ends up getting kidnapped in this episode. So Laurel and Nyssa have a heart-to-heart. You can see a good friendship growing there. Felicity and Ray have their own story. Ray's working on the Atom suit. You know, Felicity and Ray, they sleep together. So Felicity fans are probably pretty pissed with this episode. So yeah, Ray makes the Atom suit. He doesn't shrink though. He kind of just like flies around. So that happens. And that's pretty much everyone's stories. Thea is also dealing with her guilt and trying to discover herself in a way because all this madness happening to her and still the madness happening around her. She's just trying to figure out her way and who the hell she is now, which makes a lot of sense because she's changed as a person so quickly. And then you have the flashbacks of Katana and her husband and her child being shot at, and they're separated as family. And that's what happens here in Nyssa. Oh, and also with the Thea ending, we get to see that Thea tells Nyssa that she killed Sarah, and she's just like, kill me. And we'll see if Nyssa does kill Thea, which I don't think is going to happen, because we see her in a future picture that she's at Diggle's wedding. So I don't see Thea dying, but I do have some theories on that. So that's the whole episode. Let's go character by character what I thought. Well, I want to kind of talk about the negatives of this episode first. Flashbacks, as always, I felt like kind of were a waste of time. I think it picked up momentum, like, because there was a lot of action scenes here, and pretty much all the flashbacks were action scenes, so I think it picked up that momentum of action scenes. But other than that, I still feel like it's a waste of time. Like, there could have been a lot more screen time for other characters if they didn't have the flashbacks. So, as always, pretty much the flashbacks are the negative of this episode, and I still think they're a negative. It's not as bad as they usually are, but I still think this was kind of more of a waste of time, and I'm going to feel that way until we get to see, oh, whoa, that was actually really interesting, and I haven't had that with these Hong Kong flashbacks. I'm generally just not a fan of flashbacks, which I know a lot of reviewers are the same way. Another negative, honestly, is the Atom suit and Felicity. I just feel like it didn't really fit in this episode. I feel like they just needed to stick Felicity somewhere. There's just so much going on with the League of Assassins. That was too much, I thought, with the Atom suit. I honestly think they're rushing this whole Atom thing a bit too much. I don't know how this is going to really fit into the story, and that's always been my, like, worry about Ray, and it's becoming even more of a worry, because, again, this story just doesn't really fit what's going on with the League of Assassins, and every other character is attached to that, and now Felicity's trying to separate herself, and it's kind of getting me annoyed with Felicity, and I love Felicity as a character, so I felt not annoyed at Felicity, but I didn't love her in this episode, maybe because I am a Felicity shipper, and her sleeping with Ray kind of like, oh, and her pushing away Oliver doesn't feel like a character strength. It felt weird. So even though I think she brought up some good points here and agreed with Laurel, I felt Felicity was a bit off in this episode. So those are kind of the negatives of the episode. But there are a lot of positives here with the other characters. I'm going to start with Laurel. You know, I thought Laurel was pretty strong here. I've been really enjoying her as a character. I think she says a lot of the right things because Oliver really does have his head up his ass in a way, which Felicity says that in a nicer way in this episode. And I feel that way with that Laurel is telling the complete honest truth about that. But that's the interesting thing about Oliver as a hero, is that he makes a lot of mistakes, and then he's like, oh, I made a mistake, you know? So I like that about Oliver as a hero. And even though Laurel makes tons of mistakes too, and she says that, it's like, I make a lot of mistakes, but you just kind of have to admit it. And I really did like Laurel kind of standing up to that. Obviously, she does not have the strength to kind of back it up as she's like trying to fight Malcolm, but it's still a fun scene because you get to see, you know, Laurel's not that great, but she's trying and she's getting that vengeance out. And I'm glad she didn't backlash at Thea. It's like, wait, you killed my sister? She's like, no, I totally understand. Let's go kill Malcolm instead. We have this mutual understanding that Malcolm is the bad one. So Laurel was pretty good here. I really liked the Nyssa Laurel moments. I thought that was pretty good. Nyssa's, you know, really great character here. A cool villain. Definitely we'll talk more about Nyssa as we get to Thea also. Oliver, I enjoyed here. You know, I understand his motives, but at the same time, again, head up his ass a bit. But that's kind of the direction the character's just been going, and I understand that, because by the end of this season, I think it's going to really come up to a head and show that he needs his team, he needs those outer voices to really get a perspective and start understanding situations a bit more, and that's why he's kind of like making everyone not listening to everybody. So I'm expecting hopefully by the end of the season he'll learn from his mistakes, and I like they're going that direction, but I think episode by episode it's a bit hard to watch because like, oh, Oliver, you're doing the wrong thing. And then the whole Ra's al Ghul twist, they were totally right. I did not see that coming. I was like, oh, and I agree. It wasn't like, oh my god, that just happened. Stephen Amell said on his Facebook, he was like, that's what you're gonna say, and I gotta say, that's what I said. I was like, it's a moment. It's like, this is gonna be really interesting, and I have a big theory on that. Once I get to Thea, I got some League of Assassin theories here. So Diggle, I thought, was an MVP of this episode. He was really, really good because he finally shined a bit. I feel like he's been pushed to the background, and him being Oliver's best friend again, it was great. The bromance was there. Embrace. And then Diggle asking Oliver to be the best man in, you know, just a League of Assassins jail. That's arrow for you. But I love their friendship, and it's a shame that we don't get to see it shine as much as it should. And here we get to see it shine. So I'm hoping we'll get even more Diggle moments. I'm not so excited for that Suicide Squad episode coming up, but I am excited to see more Diggle as a great supporting character. Because I've always said that. I think Diggle's a great supporting character, but not a great main character for his own episode. So, let's move on to Roy and Thea here. Roy and Thea moments were wonderful. Even though Roy didn't have many scenes, the scenes that he does have with Thea are great. You know, trying to support Thea, saying this is not your fault. And as I said in the beginning of this review, Thea is kind of trying to discover herself. And I think her motives are the most respected in a way, or the ones I understand the most. Oliver, again, head up his ass a bit. Laurel, anger. Felicity, trying to push everyone else away and kind of going closer to Ray. So their motives, I feel, are a bit more confusing, but Thea's, I think, is kind of natural, and that's what I like about her arc in general. It's that she's been manipulated by Malcolm. She's gone through a lot in her life. She's found out a lot of stuff in only a few episodes, so let's say a week or two. She's found out that she's killed people, she's been trained by this monster, and I like that it's this self-discovery of who am I? Am I this killer, kind of like my brother and my father and all these other people? It's discovering who the hell is Thea, Queen/Merlin, or let's just go with Mia Dearden. I think that's a really interesting arc they're exploring, and I haven't read anyone's reviews or anything yet about this, but I can see why maybe people would be annoyed at, like, oh, why is Thea telling everybody that she killed Sarah? And I think that's totally understandable to her character, because she doesn't like keeping lies, and that's what I loved about this Thea portion of this episode, is that she's not going to lie to Laurel. She's going to tell her straight up, hey, I killed Sarah, I just need to tell you that, because she knows how it feels to be lied to. The Nyssa thing, I think it's more of, she just wants to own up to what she did. I think it's more of like, I don't want to hide from what I did. And he's like, she told her what happened. Malcolm did control her. So she just wants to tell the truth. I think she's just done with hiding. She's been doing it for so long, and she, you know, everyone's been hiding from her. She just like, let's just get this over with. I just want to kind of take up my own responsibilities, and that's who Thea has always been. I mean, when she took over Verdant, she took up her own responsibilities. She's a very independent character, and that's what I really like about Thea as a whole. As you guys know, Thea's my favorite character, so that's what I like about this Nyssa moment, is that she just owns up to what she did, and she's like, I did it, here's your sword, kill me if you want, let's talk. And now this goes to my point of, I'm going to give you guys a little speculation I have. Nyssa makes a point about Sarah in the beginning of the episode, or middle of the episode of Laurel, and she says that one thing I love about Sarah is her laugh. And right when she goes to the League of Assassins, like, do you want to be killed or do you want to be an apprentice? And I have a feeling, since I think Nyssa's going to be impressed by Thea, obviously she's not laughing, but she's going to be impressed by Thea confronting Nyssa. And also I think Nyssa's going to understand it really wasn't Thea who killed Sarah. So I have a feeling, because she's not going to die. Thea's not going to die. Again, you see future images that Thea's going to be in the next episodes after this. So she's not going to die. So how do they get out of this corner is that I think, personally, Nyssa's going to bring up that question. Maybe she'll see a lot in Sarah and Thea and say, do you want to be an apprentice or do you want to die? And I think, I mean, I don't know if Thea will pick being an apprentice. I don't know, but I feel like this is the most reasonable thing's going to happen. I don't think Thea's going to beat up Nyssa. Obviously, she's not that trained. So I just have a feeling that the whole Oliver-Thea thing was very much a parallel in the end. Maybe if Oliver becomes Ra's al Ghul, this whole League of Assassins thing, I have no idea. I really don't. But I have a feeling these two events are very much connected to what we're going to see in these, 9 episodes we have left. So, very excited. Also want to mention that, I guess, the second scene where we get to see Oliver, Thea, Malcolm sword fighting, I thought was great. And then the whole Laurel, Thea conversation, just like, oh, that reminds me of Sarah. So I thought that was a great scene, that whole entire everyone being in the lair moment. So that was very cool. But overall, you know, there was some hiccups in the episode, as I mentioned, but there's a lot of shining moments, a good cliffhanger, and obviously very excited to see where the season goes and what Oliver chooses and where the show goes after this. Because if he chooses Ra's al Ghul, so where it's not Arrow anymore, it's called the League of Assassins. So really curious to see where this goes. So hope you guys enjoyed. This is Comic You Know. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Don't forget to like my Facebook page. Also, description below, there's links from my comic book, Like Father Like Daughter. And don't forget to like the Facebook page of Like Father Like Daughter. I'll see you guys later. Bye.